pitchforks and the torches and go and deliver citizens' justice to someone without even giving them the pretense of a fair trial. So the story of Anwar al-Awlaki and what I'm going to talk about with what happened to him and what he did, I think speaks volumes to how far we've come under a Democratic administration after 8 dark years of the Bush and Cheney era. So Anwar al-Awlaki was this guy who on the one hand is sitting there with a camouflage jacket calling for armed jihad against the United States, and on the other hand led a very complicated, interesting life as a US citizen and as an American Muslim. He was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico in '71 because his father, Dr. Nasser al-Awlaki, came to the United States in 1966 as a Fulbright scholar. And he learned he refined his English in Lawrence, Kansas. He lived with an evangelical Christian family. And the al-Awlaki family shared with me their entire archives, their home videos, their writings, their photographs. And Dr. Nasser al-Awlaki, who is a very well-respected, prominent academic in Yemen right now, showed me the essay that he wrote before he came to the United States. And in the essay, that he was a teenager when he wrote it, he said that he wanted to come to America because he was taken with the progressive spirit of America, and that he wanted to get an education in the United States and then go back to his country and help work on the water crisis that faces Yemen. It continues to face Yemen. Yemen may be the first country in the world to entirely run out of water. And so he came to the United States and he studied at New Mexico State University, and he ended up getting multiple degrees, and eventually he was able to bring his wife to the US, and so Anwar was born, and he told me the story of how at the time you could smoke cigars in hospitals, and he passed out cigars. It's a boy when he was born at Las Cruces General Hospital. And they wanted to raise Anwar, if not in the United States, they wanted to raise him as an American, and for the first 7 years of Anwar al-Awlaki's life, he went to the YMCA to go swimming, and take swimming lessons. He went to public schools. They visited Disneyland, and his first language was English. When he was 7, the family moved back to Yemen, where Nasser al-Awlaki became a government minister and started a Department of Agricultural Engineering at the University of Sana'a, and he worked closely with USAID and other officials from the US government. And Anwar went to a school in Yemen that was an international school that his father and some colleagues had set up, and they taught in both English and Arabic, and the elite of the elite in the country went to that school. And Anwar al-Awlaki attended this school in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, with the children of the dictator Ali Abdullah Saleh. And some of the kids that he went to school with would later go on to be the Yemeni proxies that the US worked with to try to kill Anwar al-Awlaki. And when he graduated from high school, his father and some officials from the US government facilitated him getting a scholarship. And so he went to university in Colorado. And when he arrived as a student, it was just as the 1991 Gulf War was beginning. And I remember it well because I was 16 at the time. I was slightly younger than Anwar al-Awlaki, but I remember the 91 Gulf War was a very significant moment in my own political development. It was the first time that I can actually remember the US going to war and it being on TV, and Bernard Shaw and CNN hiding under the desk in Baghdad and phoning back his reports, and Peter Arnett. And Anwar al-Awlaki became politicized around that war and started going to anti-war meetings. He wasn't a particularly religious guy at all, and he was going to study engineering. And he got involved with organizing against that war. And he was invited one afternoon to give a lecture at a local mosque in Colorado. And he went there and he spoke about the organizing that the students were doing. And the imam at the mosque was quite taken with him and said, you have a real gift for words. Would you come back again and speak to us? And he starts going and regularly speaking at this mosque and starts to become more and more religious. And he ultimately decides that what he wants to do in life is to become an imam and a cleric. And he ends up studying Islamic scholarship and becoming an imam, first in Colorado, later in San Diego. And then in 2001, he was an imam at a large mosque in Virginia, in Falls Church, Virginia.